Went to Remax and, built out the whole second story of that company and had my whole team up there. And I made it a requirement to be there in person. Like I really felt like I couldn't create a culture I couldn't create that culture of accountability that I was looking for unless I had that full office space. Do real estate agents need an office? What's your knee-jerk response to that, AJ?
It's knee-jerk response would be yes. However, it doesn't need to be the traditional office. They certainly need a space where they can be focused, be inspired by their space. But it could be a corner or a bedroom in your house. It certainly does not need to be a traditional bricks and mortar office. So, it could be a coffee shop potentially, but I would say the ideal scenario for an agent in most cases is to have a great home office that is quiet, where you can focus to really get at least your lead generation done, and then be in the field doing deals as much as possible. What are your thoughts? Because I know as an independent broker owner before joining EXP, you had a beautiful office space for your team. I know teams and individuals, we can have two answers for that, but what's your take on that?
Yeah, I think it depends. I think sometimes we classify things as must-haves or, with such certainty, but it may or may not be that way. Throughout my real estate career, I went from, hey, being at a physical real estate office is a must-have, to now I could probably run my business from anywhere. Coffee shop's a little bit hard for me just because I'm loud on the phone and I'm kind of one of those people that like to pace when I talk. So if
Right.
I'm like walking around the house or whatnot, and I did the same at my real estate office. But when I started out, I worked at an office. It worked really good for me. But AJ, I'm so old that when I started in real estate, all this technology didn't exist. I didn't even have cell phone service in the area I lived in upstate New York. There was one spot 30 minutes from my office where you could pull over on the side of the road and you could get a signal for like a second.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, man, my first 3 years of business, it was going to the office. It was using the fax machine and like we fax our offers in. There was no DocuSign or anything like that. And then I moved down to North Carolina and I went to Keller Williams and they had an office cubicle. That was my first experience in a cubicle. Didn't like it. Felt awkward to me. I ended up not staying there very long, and I went to another real estate company and they had an office that was like a collective environment, which I really liked. And later on, that's kind of how I modeled, my office. Went to Remax and, built out the whole second story of that company and had my whole team up there. And I made it a requirement to be there in person. Like I really felt like I couldn't create a culture I couldn't create that culture of accountability that I was looking for unless I had that full office space. So I made it a requirement. So I guess if you're asking me at that time, I'm like, it's a must-have. But COVID changed a lot, and I think we all got used to finding ways to be productive in our own environments, whether that's a house. At one point, my wife had an office in our closet. It was a big walk-in closet, and I actually dug it, man. It was awesome. It was just big enough to have all of her stuff in there, so it was like very compact, and I was like, dang, that's a great office. And I remember you and me, when we mentored with Brendan Burchard, for a while, he was doing his podcast out of a closet. So
yeah,
I think that idea and the concept of the office is changing.
Yeah, I think so. And I think offices can be a really good thing if it's a really great office with like a winning culture, high energy, or it can be a really bad thing if it's a culture that, everyone's just kind of sitting around. Maybe there's some agents there that are kind of negative and maybe just a toxic environment. And based on, my limited experience, because I've only been with 2 real estate companies, but also going into other real estate companies for closings and whatnot, usually you show up and it's like kind of a ghost town. There's not a lot of people there. It's quiet. There's no energy. And it's like, man, this is not some place where I want to be making my lead generation calls or doing business over the phone, because you're on the phone and everyone's eavesdropping because it's silent. You can hear a pin drop in the cubicle next to you. I remember when I was with KW, they built a prospecting room based on my request, and the walls were so paper thin I would prospect it from there sometimes. and would be so embarrassed when someone would like just hang up on me like mid-sentence calling expired listings. I would finish like my first line of the script at least, so in case the person next to me or someone was walking by, if they heard me, they would think I was, you know, having some success on the phone and not just being hung up on over and over. So I started prospecting from home for that reason. And even like negotiating offers, you know, you never want to have someone listening to your conversation, like several people that are filling out paperwork or whatever in the cubicle next to you. And I found working from home being really good. Just wake up, you know, I'd have my gym shorts on, t-shirt kind of like I got today, and you just get my headset on and go right into it. And when I built a team though, I got an office outside of the Keller Williams office a few years later. And I really liked that for having a team because it was a place where we could build our own culture, much like you had with your Remax, that second floor. We were in the building next to the Keller Williams, our own office. Everyone came into the office, prospected together, and that was really great. So I think if you have a team, it's essential to have an office to build that winning culture. For the most part, I would say 90% plus of teams should have an office for their team. But as an individual, you can certainly work from home. I mean, I'm so ADD, I feel like sitting in an office environment, most office environments that feel really stale, I go crazy. It's like a caged lion, like, let me out. I need to get out, move, you know, just being at home, being a little work, and then go to the kitchen and make a smoothie or go in the backyard and have a call. Like, I love that.